Thank you. Hi. Give me one sec. Hello. And I will be taking your screening interview today. I have around 7 years of experience as a software engineer. Primarily worked as a backend engineer with good experience in. I have good experience in Node.js and React.js as well from the front end aspect. Currently, I've been working as a Java-based backend plus Angular development. That's a bit about me. I'll let me just give you a brief about what will be covered in today's interview. So we'll primarily focus on Python and React with some data technologies to be covered. Could you go ahead and introduce yourself a bit? So before we start.
Sure. I graduated in 2023 from IIT Guwahati, and right after that, I joined JP Morgan Chase as a data engineer. So I worked in the wealth management division of JP Morgan Chase, where we built scalable data pipelines for trade data and data pertaining to insurance and loans for the bank.
Okay.
Right after that, I joined this startup called FinFactor.ai based out of Pune. So it's a fintech, and there I was working as an full stack AI engineer. So what we did is we built like AI native web applications for transaction classification. So let's say you have a bank statement, right? You want to be able to classify what category that belongs to. So we built this web application from scratch.
Got it. Sounds good. Um, let's get started. Give me one sec.
Sure.
Uh, so we'll be going ahead with Python question first, and give me one sec. Yeah. Could you go ahead, read the question, and maybe we can get started.
Sure. Yeah, so just give me a minute. Okay. Like what I can see from the problem statement is this: we need to design basically a book management system. Books can come in two types. One is like physical books, another is digital books. We'll manage these books, we'll also manage the users in the system, and of course, we'll have to maintain some strong consistency checks, uh, checkout logic, and all these things. Uh, Looks like a fairly standard problem. Okay, so what we'll do is let's talk a bit about like what would be the entities of the system.
Yeah.
Uh, First is, of course, we'll have to maintain like the books uh, in the system. They come in two types. So one will be physical books and another will be digital books.
Yep.
Another entities would be like we'll have to maintain the users in the system, who is accessing which book, or like uh, so basically that. Um, Another would be like we'll also have to maintain like the available books in the inventory. So one inventory entity that should be there, so that maintains what books we have currently available and what books have been checked out by the users.
Yep.
Right. So on a high level, these three look like the entities we are managing. Um, um, and of course, like the goal here is to provide strong consistency. So we don't want two users to check out a single book. So we'll have to make sure that we basically ensure that only one user is able to check out one book at a time. So strong consistency is what we'll strive for here.
Yeah, sounds correct. What kind of design patterns you would need? Or okay, we'll come back to that. Can you define the entities that you're talking about with their
Sure.
properties and methods?
Sure. So one is like book entity that we'll have to maintain.
Yeah,
So you want me to write the like the pseudocode or complete working code for this?
just pseudocodes.
Okay. So I'll just so one is book, right?
Yeah,
Very trivial thing that we need. So I'll just call these the entities. Um, of course, we'll maintain like two kinds of books. So we'll have a separate class deriving from this book category. Another would be like we'll need the users in the system. Another would be like uh,
let's not cover the user aspect as of now. It's okay. You can define it, but don't go into much detail about it.
okay. So another would be like the inventory. So basically the collection of books available to us right now in the
Yeah.
system.
Okay.
So like these are on a high level the entities that I'll need, and basically we'll implement logics pertaining to these entities in the system.
Okay. So for these entities, is this all the entities you need, or like in terms of how do you manage both physical and digital books?
So right, so we'll need separate class or separate entities for both physical. Books. How we manage these will implement like so. One question is like, is there a separate logic pertaining to physical books versus digital or
No,
in this?
that's not mentioned in the problem.
Okay, so let's just we'll implement a single class or a service that will basically just take care of like what the book is, right? So, or
Yeah.
another way would be like in the this parent class itself, I can define like the book type that will tell me like what kind of book it is. As long as the logic is not different for these kind of books, maybe it's a good idea to just keep this in, as a like an attribute in the parent class itself.
Okay, let's go ahead with either attribute. So what we would want is we would want to complete the methods and any parameters for these classes that you think are required. So
Okay.
essentially the init methods and so basically the init and with the constructor and just the method signatures which you think are required,
Sure. So maybe we'll like define the.
like inside the class itself.
Okay, so let's implement the service class. Like let's implement the logic for like how we'll check out the logic, check out the books. So let's call this class checkout
I
service.
think I think you have a typo in class somewhere.
Um, Not sure why.
The C would be small.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have the init, and like what we'll have is whenever we checkouting a book, I'll just like I'll have the book ID with me. Like what is the so as a parameter I'll get the book ID, like which book I'm going to check out. Another would be like the user ID, like which user is going to check out this book. Um, and like what else do I need here? Maybe like I'll just keep the physical and digital book as an attribute in the parent class itself, just to simplify the logic a bit. Apart from that, like what we'll need is we'll just will let's quickly and like one thing that we'll need is we'll probably need a kind of a lock whenever we check out this book. So maybe one thing I'll just introduce here is just simple mutex lock. So
We don't need that as of now. We'll cover that is not required in the problem statement,
okay.
so we don't need that. Like, let's assume that it's a sequential process for now. So, okay, you have this. What methods will checkout service have?
So like we'll have this. Let's define a method called checkout book, which will just like, check out a particular book. Um, Apart from that, what else do I need? Um, hmm, any other method that I need?
Okay, let's how do I say you have in the init itself you have defined book ID and user ID,
Yep.
which means you'll have to create individual will you be creating individual instances of checkout service for
Uh, right. So
each of the
yes,
book
yes, yes.
cross user combination?
Yeah. So that's yes, that's not a good idea. So maybe I'll just remove this and like put these things here. And
Okay,
here maybe I don't need this. So whenever I get like a book ID and a user ID, I'll just like write the logic for it, like check out this book for this particular user.
okay.
um, Another would be like what else do I need? So once is there any other service that I need?
So what happens when a user submits back the book?
So maybe we need a like a different method to, so it's a library. So yes, so I'll have to I need a method to submit back the book. So like, again, like it will have book ID and which user ID, like which user has returned this book.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, I think that is sufficient, that we don't need
Maybe
any
like
more.
one like payment method needs to be there. Like
uh, we don't need to cover that, so let's
okay.
we can stick to the requirements. uh, why do we need user ID in submit back book?
Like I need like um, which user has like returned back this book.
Okay,
Um,
why do you need that? Because once you have issued a book, the same user would be returning it. Am I wrong?
okay, so like yes, so maybe what we can do is like maintain like state of which book has been issued to which user. So maybe we can persist that data, and yes, so maybe in that case we don't even need the user ID. So yes, I can just remove.
That's again a design choice, but it's okay. Secondly, how does your system currently manages that a book is checked out?
So what we'll have to maintain is like we'll have to also maintain a inventory class, like uh, maybe not an inventory class, maybe some DB where I'll maintain like which books have been checked out by which user. So maybe we'll have to maintain that state as well in the system.
Let's avoid the DB aspects for now.
Okay.
Uh, how do you like because if you bring in DB, you might need a DB service and stuff like that, which is you have not covered. But so if you are going with a DB, like any kind of a database, uh, what what will uh, what will be the signature of these classes change? Because that's the main part of this exercise. We want the parameters for individual entities that you have defined and their methods, any method that they have. So do you think these are all the like, let's say these are all the entities, do you
Hmm.
think this is all the like no can you complete the parameters for book, user, inventory class that you have created, and parameters for checkout service, if any?
Okay. So maybe like we'll define like the parameters for this book class. We'll start with this. Um, what I need is um, so what we need is like for this particular book, I need to maintain like whether this book, like what book type is this. So this is one thing that I'll have to maintain. Um,
Okay,
Another is like if maybe the price of the book, maybe I'm not sure if that we are dealing with that right now. Another is like which user has checked out this book right now. So maybe a boolean flag to maintain lended or not. So lended would be one particular attribute that will maintain. Another would be if this is lended, like which user id has which user has issued this book right now. So maybe that anything.
Is the user who has okay, okay, go ahead for now.
So like we'll keep this none when we create the class. Maybe when there's user assigned, we'll just maintain this mapping.
Okay, okay.
Um, I think these are the high level.
Any methods will book have?
Any?
Any methods that book will have?
Um,
Will have any methods?
I don't think so. Like it's more of a model that you're maintaining. So it's not a logic that I need to maintain for this particular.
So, so do you think these are public properties that you have defined? Should these be public properties?
Um, as
Or
in,
should all of them be public? Like, what's the blend of that?
so maybe like we can keep all of these public because like, books are essentially the basic core of the system. So of course, like we'll maintain like getters and setters for these books, but
If it's public property, we don't need that. So, are you? um, um, so, if you make all of these public, uh, uh, is there? So, are you aware about the concepts of when classes should be as used as models and when it should be used as objects? Like essentially a distinction between data classes and normal classes. Because are you aware about that?
um, like data classes are like more of an abstraction on the model class, right? We don't want to if there's something that changes a lot, we maintain a data class. If something that remains static, like the book
Yes,
name
yes.
itself.
I don't think data classes is a core concept of Python. So essentially, data classes are concepts uh, where you just want to store data in an object-oriented language. Everything has to be a class. So when you just want to store some data, you create those as data classes.
Mhm.
Like let's say something that does not has any property, like does not have any behavior. It just has properties. So in those cases, you define a data class. So, do you think book is a data class given the properties that you have defined for it?
um
Like, should book have control over any of its parameters or it should be open? Like, strict control over any of these parameters or should it be open?
um
Let's say we don't have price for now because we don't need the concepts of price. Also, do you think these parameters are complete?
um like I'm thinking if I need something else.
How do you identify the book?
So right, so maybe we'll have to maintain like primary key for this. So we'll have to like maintain a book ID for this. So yeah.
Okay. So who will control whether the lended is true or false? Like they can simply set lended. What like do you think it's correct that I allow someone to just like
Right, right.
because
I
so
see.
what the problem I feel is, let's say I made the lended as true and user ID is false. What happens
Mhm.
then? Like
Right. So
like
yeah.
do you think that there are problems surrounding those kind of issues?
No, so yes. So in that case, I think it's a good idea to maintain like some data class for books, like for the inventory that it will use, like whether the books more like a book status kind of a thing, active book, so to say. There I'll maintain like the status of this books. Maybe I can just remove these two parameters from here, and
Okay.
another maybe I can create a data class in this case. So more like a active book kind of a.
Okay. What is active book?
So maybe like okay, not active book, the word might be wrong, but essentially it's more like the state of the book for a single book. So it will tell me whether the book has been lended or not. So this is where I'll
Okay.
like change the
Okay.
state
So
of.
what all parameters and methods it will have?
So it will have something like so, it will have okay. What will it have? It will have like what book ID we are talking about. It will have like whether the book has been lended or not. So that can be a boolean. What else? Uh, what else was there? I think that's all right. So I just need to maintain whether this book has been lended or not.
What methods will it have? Will it have any methods?
Right. So maybe we can have like set active. Like this will tell me whether the book has been lended or not. And
Okay.
another could be like set free. Maybe this will tell me like whether the book has been set free, like the user has given back this book or not. So this can be there. Um, anything
Should it
else?
not be a single method? Like, why do you want? Again, does it not land into the same problem? When I'm returning a book, I can just simply set it as set free by mistake. So you understand the concept of encapsulation and abstraction.
Yes.
So do you think the logic of landed is correctly encapsulated in the current system? What
Um,
is encapsulation? Or
so like it's like we hide the or we basically cover one particular attribute from another attribute. So it's basically like we are hiding this particular attribute and controlling it from something else. So that is what encapsulation is.
yeah, so do you think this is correctly encapsulated? The logic of lending is correctly encapsulated?
Um, I don't see
Like,
like why this
what
could be.
if like having these two methods, instead of having these two methods, I don't have them and I simply control the lended from my current, like from my checkout service, inventory service, whatever service I want to use.
Like, but like wouldn't that be like a bad thing because I'll just control this attribute from from the object itself, like so wouldn't it be a good idea to
Okay,
have.
okay. So so having two separate methods to, like, what happens if a book is already lended and I'm trying to re-lend it?
So for that to happen we'll first have to reset the book, right? So maybe like
Yeah, I'm not saying that. Let's say the book is lended. It's lended out to someone else.
Mhm.
And someone again is just like without returning the book, someone else is trying to lend it. What will happen?
In that case, like we'll check if that particular book has been lended or not. So we'll check this attribute of
How
that
do you
book.
check that? You had not defined any method for that.
uh, okay, yes, I see. So maybe in that case, like we'll also have to maintain a check lended status method, which will this will tell me like whether this book has active to be lended or not. So
Okay. Now, still, we need, based on lended, we need to do some actions. What if we define this tuple lended?
right. So
What if we define this
instead of
simply this? It's
having,
tuples the state from lended to non-lended and non-lended to lended.
so yeah, maybe so.
Doesn't that make, yeah.
Yes, that looks clean. So we are combining basically the two methods into one. So maybe I can just tell the status of the book, and in that case, I'll just set true and
So
false.
that's how setters are written, right? You don't write two different setters. Like, let's say if lended was an enum and had five values, I would not write five values. It would be a
Sure,
single method setter. So that's how
sure,
setters work ideally, right?
sure.
Okay. Now we have the books and the active books. Uh, let's come to the next part. In do you need inventory? Uh, Given you have checkout service, what is the use of inventory now?
So like in this case, maybe I don't even need this. Um, right. So what I'm thinking is maybe I do need inventory, right? Because let's say I'm like serving a UI, right? I need to be able to tell the users like what books are active right now. So in that case, maybe it will have the list of books, list of active
Then
books.
can you define those things? Like, it's again same thing. It's parameters and its methods.
Sure. So um, so what we'll have is like a set of active books This will essentially be just a list of active books filtered by whether the books are active or whether the status of lended is false. So only those books which are not lended. So we'll maintain this.
Hmm?
What else? Um, so I think that's pretty much the attribute that I need. But what I need is the methods. So what method do I think I need this? Um, Maybe like something like mm, so I think even this can be a data class in that case, right? So I don't even need maybe attributes for it.
What about lended books? Like, if you want to return a book, how do I know it was my book to return? Let's say I took book A and I'm now returning book B, which was never part of inventory. How do you manage that? So
Um,
you understand the fundamental questions that we need that needs to be corrected. You should take out a book. You should be returning the same book, and you like that's the whole thing that we are trying to create. You get it? That's the problem. Do you think these both cases are handled? Like, the constraint is if I'm taking out one book, I cannot return some other book. I can take out two books and I can keep, like, I took out first A and then took out B, and first I'm returning B and then I'm returning A. That is okay, but it's not like I can take out A and I can return B. That's not the point of managing library kind of a situation. That's a fundamental requirement, right? So is that taken care of if you just maintain a list of active books?
um, so like so from what I understand, maybe we need to maintain like the set of active books for each particular user, right? So I need to persist that thing as well. So basically partitioned by which user I need to maintain the books, and I can only
Then,
return
then
books.
will your submit back book work? Just look at the signature of your checkout service. You are returning just by a book ID. How do you know which user has rendered out the book?
Like we'll check, right? So for this particular user, whether this book belongs to this user or not, so we can check that, right?
So for returning every book, you'll check through all the users that who has lended this book and
No.
then return. So how do you do that then?
So like we create like a mapping of at each user level, we maintain a mapping of active books that this user has, and it will have like kind of a set of books that this user has. When I'm returning this book, I'll like check in my particular user ID whether this
Hmm.
book belongs to me or not. So in that
Isn't
case,
this like will this not be like simply, like, if I do this list of active books and this is like books of type active active book list, and I defined it as active book, and like I think that's more than enough. If I'm trying to return back the book, I can just check whether the book is,
active or this is the
yeah.
status of it.
Or if I have this app books, I can just, like, instead of just leaving it as array, I can have it as a of like map of string comma book, something like this. Will this not be better?
Yeah, so essentially that only, right? So for each user, we are also maintaining like what
Why
books.
do we need to maintain it at the user level?
Because one user can have multiple books, right? So
Yeah. What if at the active book level itself, I have the user ID, and instead of status with the I pass this user ID as well.
um right.
Doesn't, from think from a database standpoint of view, how many tables I would need now? I simply need a book table which has all the information.
Yes, sure. So yeah, maybe I just want it. But like what mapping is we are maintaining here? Like what is this?
Book ID against active book, just to make it faster. I can fetch the book in one go, otherwise I'll have to iterate through the array and find the book by the book ID.
Okay, sure.
That's just a database like search optimization. Like you can say I created an index on book ID.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I think this looks okay. Uh, let's move on to the next question. So, hmm, let me just paste the question. Uh, give me 1 second. Okay. Uh, so essentially, what we want to do now is we have a recommendation service out of this library, because we have, like, let's say we call this library instead of checkout service, and this is like lend book, and this is give back. Let's say this is the situation now. So what we don't need this. We have the user, okay, and it has just one parameter. And it is the user ID. Cool. So this is the current state of the system. Now, what let's say any user would want to see the recommendations. Okay. Now, all the books are in database. I want to query by book name. Let's say the book has something which we should have added, which is name or author. These are two additional fields it has now, and what the user now just fetching the book directly via an API is slow, because we have a lot of books, lots of matching needs to be done. So what we want is uh, uh, instead of instead of fetching these synchronously, what we want to create is an asynchronous operation,
Okay.
where you can just call a service and get certain details. And so let's say you have a recommendation class. uh, let's say you have a recommendation service, and you want to, in the library you have something like get recommendations. It takes some queries,
Okay. So
and
it will take the book name, right?
it can take any query around book. Let's say I have defined book name and author, but it can have descriptions, it can have multiple fields. I want to
Okay.
search the book, so I want recommendations around it. It's
Okay.
like that. so
Okay.
so it can take multiple parameters. So I'll just say it takes a query. Now, just calling recommendation service is like, you can say, is very slow. What
Okay.
I want is this recommendation should be fast and batched. So how do you do that? Like, can you make that? It should be a batched call, and it should be so you get the idea.
Sure.
Calling every time books is hard.
Sure.
You think of some ways you can batch it and make it faster.
Right. So the first thing that comes to mind is this is clearly a blocking call that we are making each time when we call get
Yeah,
recommendation. So first of all, like we need to make this asynchronous in nature. So whenever I'm calling get recommendations,
yeah.
let's make this asynchronous. So I'll just call an API that will go and fetch for me the list of books that I need. So maybe we can use something like an async IO library that will just go and call this external API.
What can you use? Can some kind of library can you recommend?
So async IO is a good library for that, right? So I
Okay,
need
okay.
um, what
Cool.
I can do is I can just make a core routine that will essentially just go and fetch these list of books for me.
Okay.
Another approach, like what I have in mind, is it's possible that many of these queries will be similar in nature, right? So
Mhm.
maybe might be a good idea to maintain some kind of a cache. Uh, so maybe maintain like some kind of a
Let's just okay. Caching is one way, but okay. How do you make, let's say how do you make these methods asynchronous?
So basically, what we'll do is like we'll so this get recommendation, right? So we'll make this async in nature. Um,
Okay.
and like what we will do is like we will make we'll make async calls to the external API. So this will like maybe I'll just use await here. So await get books, and it will make an like external call to this API, right? So
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
so I'll just go on this URL, and with this query in mind, I'll just get the books I need. Um,
So let's say this get books gives you list of books IDs, which is a very big batch. Like
sure,
so,
sure,
so database queries have a limit, right? You cannot pass more than 100, 200, 500. There's some limit on how many items you can pass inside a where clause where something in
sure.
this list, right? So let's say this can give you a list that is outside of that scope. How
Okay.
will you handle those situations?
So in such cases, what we usually do is we implement like a pagination kind of thing on the
Okay.
API request, right? So uh,
Okay.
maybe what I'll do is I'll get a set of books, let's say 10 books at a time in chunks. Uh,
Okay. And how do you make that faster? Because let's say I'm getting 10 books at a chunk, it is becoming very slow. Let's say I have 1,000 books, I have to make 100 sequential calls. How do you improve that?
um, I'm not sure if that like if that can be done at like the client level. At the server side, like what I can do is like on the where I'm serving the books, right? Maybe I can use a some kind of an index on the uh, book ID where that will make the query
So
itself
you
faster.
have so what it means is what it means is, let's say you have this get book IDs has this query, whichever was the method, and this is an async method,
Okay.
as you had said, and it gives you the list of book IDs, and you just has this self dot recommendation service equal to new recommendation service, something like this.
Okay.
And you had this, and you just call the self dot recommendation service, and you just get book IDs. You did this, okay, and based on the query. So you got the book IDs. Now what you need to do, and let's say this you have a book repository also.
Okay.
So how do you'll batch them? You're saying you'll call them in batches of 10, right?
Sure.
How do you improve this batching so that I can get the results faster? So let's say if one database calls takes 10 ms of latency, and I have to fetch 1,000 books, it's like 10 ms into 100, which essentially means 1 second. I'll need 1 second to suggest the recommendation. I need faster.
Okay.
How
So
do you do that?
right. So maybe like in that case, what I can use, I can just start using multiple pools of processes, right? So in that case, I can like spin up multiple processes. Each will like each will create its own event loop and go and query the database. Uh,
Can you write that thing?
Perfect.
Sounds right. Like you're using event loops to parallelize this batch calls. So can you just write the syntax?
Sure. So maybe I'll write this here. So maybe what we can do is like define. So maybe let's do that here only. Maybe at a high level, maybe what I can do is uh, def get all books. I have the query in mind, and what I will do is I will like create a pool process of, let's say, I don't know, 10 pool, and what I will do is with I think it's called process pool executor. Maybe I can use that process pool executor as, let's call this PP, and what I'll do is I'll basically um, map each of these get books ID. Um, and apart from that, what I need is like the set of the number of books I need to go and fetch each time, right? So in that case, like what we'll do is we'll provide a list of uh, the number of books that we need to fetch here. So something like this.
Okay. What if what if an exception handles happens in one of the pools? Like you have a pool size of 10. What if one of the process gives exception? Because what happens as of now? Because like
So
what happens in this code?
um, as of now, I think like uh, we'll get an exception in like one of the pools, but um, maybe like not sure like what will happen to the overall process, but one of the pools will fail. So the overall loop won't fail, but only that particular process will fail.
Okay. So cool. Makes sense. Makes sense. Uh, Another thing. So yeah, I understood your thought process around why you use async and process pools and stuff like that. What I So are you aware about what is a semaphore?
Right. So a semaphore is just like so we maintain like so it's a concurrency mechanism only, but
Okay.
instead of a mutex lock, it maintains like integer variables to track whether the thread is or whether the concurrency can be done or not. So uh, but like
Okay. Cool.
I don't really have like the exact mechanism in mind right now.
Okay. Cool. Makes sense. Instead of processing process pools, can we think of in terms of multi-threading, or is the multi-processing the only option?
Multiprocessing in this case, like it always comes with memory overhead, right? So yeah, so can we use multi-threading here? Um, yeah, maybe I can just spin up like multiple threads. So uh, yeah, so instead of
Okay, that's like what's the advantage of using multiple threads over multi-processes?
so multiple threads, they'll run on a sing like multiple processes will always require more memory to run, right? So that is there, but multiple threads, there will be some overhead of context switching, but even keeping that in mind, I think um, uh, yeah, so maybe thread pool might be a better idea here. Yes.
Okay, another question. Are you aware about GIL locks in Python?
Right. So GIL, yes. So essentially, like what GIL does is it Python ensures that only one single thread can execute the Python bytecode at a time. So
Yeah.
uh,
So if you might have heard about these libraries like async and others, these are usually like uh, basically at CPU level. These are also single threaded
correct.
applications.
Yes.
So does this solve your problem of concurrency?
Uh,
By
you mean
using,
using
like,
multiple
can
threads?
you use, like, from an OS point of view, there's single thread. See, GIL
Correct.
does not allow you spawning multiple threads at the OS level
Yes.
for the CPU bound work. So does like, how do you create thread pool in Python? Because I am not aware if Python has the concept of thread pools. That's why we create process pools.
Right. So thread pools are generally used like when we are making some IO calls, right? So in this case, I'm basically making an API call only. So
Yeah,
In that sense, what I'm thinking is it might be a good idea to just use thread pool instead of process pool, because this is an IO call that we're making. So but multi-processing is like more like when you're doing some kind of CPU intensive work, like some calculation that needs to be done on the books, right? So
makes sense. Makes sense. So that's why thread pool is a better idea.
yes. So
Cool. Work sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. Uh, so this is going to be uh, coding question for basically how to, basically React. Please, let me change this to React now, and we are building a weather dashboard, right?
okay.
You have to just implement that component.
Right. So I'm not very comfortable.
Don't worry about CSS and stuff. Primarily, what we are looking for is how do you manage the state, and basically how do you uh, uh, basically how do you manage the side effects and life cycle of this, like
Okay.
getting the data. So basically what happens is so your tracker should be continuously getting the data, and basically it should like it is constantly getting some data using some mechanism that you
Okay.
have to implement. And let's say a fetch call or something like that. And you simply manage the state of what you are getting, and you have to depict that information.
Okay. So like first things first, like we need the states for it. So I'm not very comfortable with JavaScript, so I'll just state that. But essentially, like what I'll need is a state of um, um, like let's say temperature, and set temp. So this is one like use effect that I'll have.
Give me 1 second before you do that. Let me just make it a bit simple for you. Uh, so what we can do is we can have this functional component. Uh, Let me just paste this for you. And what we can so let me how do I say it? Yeah. So don't like it would return something, right? So
Correct.
what I'll do is it will return some div. For now, let's be it like that. uh, uh, that should okay. I have done something wrong. Yeah, it should just instead of this it should be this. Yeah, you have to not worry about the return part. What you have to worry about is you have to like fetch the weather, keep on fetching the weather, and maintain the state. That's all.
Okay. So one thing that I need is like, of course, like maintain the state. So how will I maintain the state? So let's say I'm just worried about a particular city for now.
Yeah.
So let's say this is the temperature that I need to maintain, and I need a setup for this. So set temp. So this can be a like a use state and some basic some in default temperature use state. Let's put that 0. For fetching like this weather call, right? So I'll need an external API from where I'll fetch this temperature.
Yeah.
Um, in that case, like what I'll have is basically use effect. So that will be like the side effect, the
Okay.
calling that API, right? So um, how do you do that? So I think essentially um, maybe I'll just go and make this API call here in this particular block. Um, what do I need? Like, so I think there is a this dependency here that we also need to maintain, right? So,
So
um,
UseFX syntax is not like this. UseFX syntax is more like 1 second. I think I did something wrong. Yeah, UseEffect is something like this. you There's the syntax of use effect. And yeah, so you're saying something about dependency.
Right. So I also have to maintain like when does this re-render each time, right? So maybe what needs to be done is like whenever the temperature updates, I'll re-render this
Okay.
this component each time when the
Okay.
temperature updates. Um,
Okay.
but how do we poll, like how common, like how frequently do we poll this thing? So maybe what we can do is like we can like set, there is this method called, I think, set interval. So essentially we'll poll the external API every fixed interval of time.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like I think maybe like every 1 second or so, we'll query this external API using this use effect, and then we'll re-render this component each time. Like, um, but what might happen is the external API itself is like it's not working correctly. Maybe we'll get some network delay. So if there needs to be a persistent connection, it might be a good idea to maintain like some kind of a WebSocket itself uh, to do that. But I think for now it's good enough to use just like a consistent polling at every 1 second or so.
Okay. Okay.
Um, right. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all that we need, right? So
So, what happens is currently this code. This code more or less works. The problem here is uh, uh, the the problem here is this because you are using the state itself as the variable for use effect, it will create a massive memory leak. uh, uh, the reason for that is uh, uh, what happens is what ends up happening is if you constantly are fetching it creates an event loop, right?
Mhm.
You use the temperature to set the temperature, and the set temperature is essentially updates the temperature, and it creates an event loop. So it's a huge
Sure.
memory leak.
Sure.
So you should not do that. Firstly, you don't need any variable. It can like work as is.
No,
That's
but
one.
sure, makes sense. But like, wouldn't this run only once when the component renders for the first time in that case?
Yeah, so that's why you use set intervals, right? It's not used incorrectly at this point of time, but yeah, that's why you
Okay.
use set
Okay.
intervals.
Okay. Makes sense.
You
Sure.
have to use it correctly. It's not the right place, but yeah. How do so? Okay. Let me let me think. Okay, cool. This sounds good. Can you tell me a brief about what is React hooks?
So hooks are essentially like constructs that tell React when to re-render the virtual DOM at what point, or like what changes the state of the system that should re-trigger a re-render. So React works
Sorry,
on
can you please speak again?
side. So what I'm saying is hooks are essentially components in React. Basically tells React when to re-render a component when a particular state changes. So React reacts to when there's a hook that happens. So this could be
Okay.
like a change in the temperature or an API call that we are making. So basically like telling React when to compare the current VDOM to the previous VDOM. So uh, it tells React when to react essentially.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Uh, now, um, so what's the difference between functional way of doing React versus class-based React?
Um, Not sure. No, I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So let's move on to the next question. Uh, give me 1 second. So yeah. Mm, yeah. So let's move on to this question. We'll change this to plain text for now. And yeah, so you're designing a global marketplace.
Okay.
I just wanted to design the entities are essentially the database tables that you'll use,
Okay.
primarily from the perspective of uh, like a very basic tables that you'll have. Let's say you have users, products, and orders. That's all. You have
Okay.
just three tables for now. What would be uh,
The schema of
the columns for these table? These tables.
okay. So so it's a global e-commerce analytics engine, right? So um maybe like what, so again like pseudocode only, right? Or
Yeah.
so one table
You
is
don't
like
need to write any pseudocode. Just let's say you have three tables. You have
okay.
users, you have products, and you have orders. These are the three tables. What all the columns will these three tables store?
Um so
Like we are working on the database design schemas. So you
okay.
are a database designer. What all columns will you store?
So like maybe I'll start with products first. What it will have is um like what is the name of the product, like
Okay.
what category it belongs to, like I
Yeah.
don't know, clothes, garments,
Yeah.
maybe things like
Perfect.
that. What else, like who manufactures this product, so users can
Okay.
filter based on that. um,
Okay.
what else, maybe the expiry of this product, in case this is a product that might expire, so maybe that, of course the price of the product we need to maintain. um, what else, um, another could be like the rating of the product, that might change every now and then, so maybe like these few attributes that are most critical that come to mind. um, so this is for users. For users, what we need is like again like the name. What else, like um, maybe their order history, orders, a list of orders that they have placed till now. um, what else, like again like some generic things like their email and all those things, but apart from that, um, what else, uh, yeah, I think more or less these on a high level. On orders, but again like I see orders as a different table altogether, so um, maybe more like a cart kind of thing that will tell me like what particular orders I have in my cart
It's
right now.
enough. Let's not worry about card for now.
Okay, so apart from that, for orders, like what I need is for orders, right? What exactly are we tracking in this table?
uh, in e-commerce, from an e-commerce perspective, what all things the orders have?
Um,
What do you think the order? Let's imagine the page, your order page of Amazon. What all information it has?
so in that case, like what, of course I'll have to maintain like which user I'm talking about. So something like a user ID that needs to be the primary key here.
Okay.
Um, and here also maybe it's a good idea to have a product ID so that I can maintain a
Okay.
mapping of which user ID we're talking about, which product we're talking about. So
Okay.
uh, user ID, product ID, these things.
Okay.
Like, what else do I need? Uh, like whether this order has been like executed or not, maybe something like that, because it's possible that we are still in the checkout mode and not
Status is a better word.
yeah, so maybe something like status. um what else, I think Yeah, pretty much these, right? The price and all will anyways like fetch from the product ID itself. So
Yeah. Do you think you need some timestamps also?
it depends like what kind of system we are building, but in
Yeah.
this case,
As I said, think in terms of um, order page of Amazon.
um, yeah, so might be a good idea to keep it in timestamp and decreasing order of timestamp. So maybe to be able to tell like what is the latest status of this order. So uh, maybe that as well. Sure.
Okay. So usually, any other audit field required? Are you aware about audit fields in databases?
Like yeah, so things related to like auditory and compliance perspective, like what all things we might need to basically do some kind of analytics or compliance
Do,
needs that needs to exist.
do you think it's needed here?
Um, not sure if we need anything like that here.
Okay. What if we have instead? Do you think it's better?
Yeah, so maybe yes, it makes sense because like I might be able to do some analytics based on like when this was created, when this was updated, and all those things. Sure.
Do you think any other place you require these fields?
Maybe at user level we can define that as so registered at something like that. So when was this user registered? Uh, Maybe a timestamp of last purchase, so we'll know like when this user was last active. Maybe
Yep.
something like this. At product level, I don't think. At product level, also we can like maintain these things, but might have just get away with that.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good. This follow up to this. Please read the question and let's write a query on this.
Um, just 1 minute actually.
Let me just delete all of this.
Right.
Yeah.
So write a query to find the top three categories by total revenue in the last 30 days, but only for users who signed up in 2025. Okay. So top three by total revenue in the last 30 days. Of course, we'll filter by the year. So it has to be 2025. Okay. So essentially, right. So I'll write a like MySQL. Um,
Mhm.
so the first thing is like um, I need to first group by the categories of the product, like what categories, uh,
Yeah.
right? So, and based on that, we'll first like do some kind of arithmetic. Like, um, once we have grouped by the categories, we'll figure out the sum of total revenue for that particular product.
Yeah.
Um, and then like we are also concerned about the users, right? Um, so maybe we'll
So,
need some
so
kind.
let's say remove this constraint for user for now.
Okay.
Without
So
that.
so once that is done, like we have found the maximum categories users, and then we'll just filter out again, like having by like just the last 30 days. So some timestamp level filtering on the last 30 days. So does that sound good?
Yeah. How do you just do top three?
So in that case, like we'll just put something like limit three, so only to give me the last three.
And
um and what
like,
else?
how do you ensure that it's top three only?
Um so So are you saying like we might have duplicates?
No, no. I'm saying you have to identify top three categories, right? So
Correct.
how do you know that if you apply the limit, you get three categories? How do you know that?
I
These
see.
are the ones with the maximum revenue.
Sure. So of course, right. In that case, I'll have to also order by like, basically sort in the descending order. So
Okay,
that also
cool.
needs to be done.
Yeah, go ahead, write the query now.
Okay. So select top cats categories from, so which table do I have? So from orders, in this case, like I also need to like join these two tables, right? So or do I
Yeah.
total revenue do I have in the product itself? So yes, maybe we'll have to join these two tables. So select top categories from orders. Um, where let's call this O. Select product. Maybe we'll do a join here. Left join on what? So orders dot user ID equal to left join product. So here I'll product dot product ID. Okay, so once this is done, what we'll do is we are grouping by categories. So how we are grouping by? So we are grouping by the so product dot categories, and again, like what do we want to do? We want to like sum up the revenues also. So maybe I'll just take care of that later. What is- Select from where group by having um mm, like so I think this is the high level query, but like what I'm currently thinking is like how will I basically sum up the total revenues for this product, right? So um what I'm thinking is like maybe I need to do a separate query here. In this case, like it will basically go and query the product db.
You can use some.
um, so having like something like maximum sum of what particular So P dot price, but mm, so but
No, no, you don't need that. I don't think you need having. You can like simply order by uh, uh, um, order by the sum of grouped values.
okay, so maybe something like order by mm, P dot price, and yeah, so P by, so we order by price and then we take the largest three values, and of course like order
So
by.
what if you also have to display those revenues?
So in that case, like we'll just put in another column here, P dot price.
No, no. So price is the price of individual product, right? We want revenue. So revenue is how much of that how much of that product we sold.
Right. So I'll also have to multiply that by the total number of times I've sold that, right? So
Yeah.
um, maybe I'll just create a
Should can you think in terms of sum instead of product?
um,
It's
so
it's 4 into 3 is 4 times. 4 into 3 is 3 times you add 4, right?
correct.
So what does group by do? Like let's say when you do a group by, what does group by do?
Right. So maybe what I can do is like group by categories.
No, if you just do a group by category, what benefits, what all you get? Like what is the reason for doing a group by?
I want to like basically filter out all the categories one at a time. Um, right. So what I can do is basically I have for this category I have 10 orders that I had. Maybe I can just multiply the price times the count of that uh, group by, right. So for that
Yeah,
group I can
that sounds good. Can you
um,
please go ahead and write it?
um so so in this case maybe something like count of maybe something like P dot categories. Not sure if that's the right syntax, but
And
um,
just do asterisks. It's okay
yeah.
because you're counting the rows. Or you
Um,
could do the sum. Also, sum of p dot price would also work, no?
right. So
Because you've done a group by. It's okay. Now, how do you order by?
so we are ordering in descending order, right? So
Yeah. How do you like? What do you order by on? Like,
um, again like uh, this thing, right? So what we just did. So
can you
the
write aggregation functions in order by?
um yes, so maybe that not a good thing to do. So maybe I'll just call this a separate variable itself. So let's call this total revenue. Maybe then I can just use this here.
It's okay. You can actually call it, but yeah, that's that's not an issue. You can use aggregation functions in order by also. Cool.
Okay.
I think I am done with my questions. Give me one sec. Uh, yeah. So, are you aware about uh, like uh, when to you so you understand SQL and NoSQL, right?
Right.
What is the distinction between them? Based on that, like, uh, what do you think among these three tables, users, product, and orders, which tables do you think should be SQL and which non-SQL, and with a reason that you think is applicable?
I think in this case, right, I think all needs to be SQL only because these are relational tables. I need to maintain like foreign keys for each of the tables.
Okay. All of these have relations with the. Can a SQL and NoSQL table have a relation? Can they not?
Hello.
Yeah, yeah. Can they not have a connection?
Come again? Like I actually
So
didn't hear you.
can a SQL and NoSQL table have a connection? Can they not have a connection?
They can have, but like it's like we need to enforce transactions at this level, right? So we don't want any orphan, like if there is an order, there is no buyer for it. We don't want such kind of things, no orphan keys. So in that case, I think it's a good idea to have relational table in here
Okay.
for all these things. Like in case this was unstructured data, like maybe something like logs and something like that, maybe for, yeah, just something like MongoDB or something.
Okay. Uh, Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. I think I'm done with my interview. Do you have any questions for me at this point of time?
Sure. So, can you tell me a bit about like where were you before this, like, and how has the transition been? So, have you always worked in like quant trading firms?
I'm sorry. This is a um, uh, screening round taken by an external party. So I'm
Okay.
just taking your interview from there. I am not part of the organization that
Okay.
you'll be.
Okay. Okay. I see. I see. Okay.